Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Aisha Harley, and I am one of the founders of the Visionary Leaders Collective, and it is always a pleasure to welcome you to our podcast. The first half of the call will focus on an array of wellness topics and solutions using essential oils and other medicinal plants. The second portion of the call focuses on how to successfully earn additional income by sharing doTERRA. If you would like to learn more about all of our community offerings, please visit www.hellovisionary.life. Please also follow us on Instagram and YouTube. In addition, we would be so grateful if you would take the time to give us a 5-star rating on this podcast. This helps more folks find us so we can further share our wisdom with the world. We have incredible topics each week, so be sure to tune in weekly and share with your friends. We have some exciting topics to delve into this month. I love what we have lined up for February. Today, we will be deepening into self-care. Next week, we will be sharing some fun and sexy Valentine's DIY projects. Every third week of the month, we have our Oils A to Z with Ariana and her guest panel of doctors. And they will be doing a deep dive into jasmine, which is the oil for vibrant and sacred sexuality. And we will be ending the month discussing heart health, the effects of heartbreak, and epigenetics. You definitely don't want to miss that. So today, we're going to just take a few minutes to center ourselves. So please grab your Magnolia. Again, if you don't have Magnolia, you could grab some lavender, you could grab some ylang ylang, but we just want to take a few moments to get to know Magnolia. And I also, before we even begin, well, let's go ahead and all put on our Magnolia. I like to rub it on my wrists, rub the wrists together. I like to rub it on the side of my neck. I think we need to mute somebody there. Maybe it's you, Josie. And then, no. And then I also like to put it on my heart. So I'll just make a little heart over my heart and rub it in. Arin, go ahead.
Yeah, I just forgot to hit mute all. So can you stop for one moment? I'll mute all and then we won't have interruptions. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Okay. Okay. So I would like to can we just take a moment of silence before we begin to acknowledge our friends in Turkey. We have very dear friends in Turkey that have friends that are actually caught under rubble right now. And can we just take a moment of silence, put our hands on our heart and send some love, compassion, and prayers to all of those in Turkey that are in great trouble right now because of the earthquake. Okay, and take a deep inhale. Just keep your eyes closed. So today we're connecting with the essential oil Magnolia, which is the oil of compassion. And Magnolia connects us with the divine feminine wisdom. So you've already put a few drops on your hand. If you haven't, go ahead and do that. And if you want to, again, just take a few long, deep breaths. And I want to teach you a breath that we'll do really quickly together. It's called a box breath. And especially because we're talking about self-care, this is a wonderful breath to calm and relax your nervous system. You can do it in really just a few moments and really completely change your whole state of being. And so I'm going to walk you through it. The way that you do the breath is that you inhale a count of 4. You'll hold the breath for a count of 4. You'll exhale a count of 4, and you hold the breath out for a count of 4. Now I'm going to walk us through it. We'll just do 3 cycles. If 4 breaths is too many, you can do 3 or you can do 2. Just try to make the breath sequence equal. Now, I like to use a mantra. This gives your mind something to do. And the mantra that I like to use is I'll count Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Sat Nam is basically just, we are truth. We say truth in thy name. If that does not resonate for you, you can just count 1, 2, 3, 4, or if there's something else that you like to repeat, just whatever works in that count of 4. So I'll do both. I'll count us in a count of 4, and then I'll also count us in a cycle of Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Okay. And we're just going to do this for 3 cycles. So close your eyes. Go ahead and bring your hands back to your heart. And if you're running around your house or doing whatever you're doing, I invite you just to take a moment to center and ground yourself with us. So take in a deep inhale and mentally count Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. And then we're going to hold Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Then we're going to exhale Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. And we're going to hold the breath out. Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Again, inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold the breath out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And one more. Inhale. Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Hold. Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Exhale. Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. And hold out. Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. And then just regulate your breath. And just notice how you feel without any judgment or expectation. Just notice if your mind is quieted down. Notice your nervous system. Allow yourself to recenter. Become present to this very moment. This is all we really have, is this present moment right here, right now. So thank you all so much for being with us. And then again, take a deep inhale. And exhale. And Arin, I'm going to pass the call over to you.
Thanks, Aisha. I love the way that we're starting these calls now with that simple meditation and how easy it is to take a few minutes, breathe, and smell the oils and come back to center. Happy February. As we were planning the content for February, we talked a lot about how, yes, this is a month of love, but oftentimes it's a little focused on the other, a lot about going out on dates or romance. Or if you're not in a relationship, it can be a time that can feel sad and lonely. So we wanted to recenter the conversation around self-love. And of course, we're going to have some calls where we talk about Valentine's, dating, and DIY and fun stuff like that. But today we're going to really ground it out and focus on ourselves. So the topic today is deepening into self-care. And I feel like the word self-care is thrown around a lot and can sometimes not really explain the depth of what this means. So I wanted to start the conversation by having some real talk about what it's like to be a mom, a business owner, and someone who's working on healing their childhood trauma and really diving into not putting the blinders on anymore. And what can easily happen for me, and please give me some hearts or put it in the comments if this happens for you. I don't think you have to be a mother to experience this, but I can easily get caught up in everyone else's needs and emergencies, everyone's demands, everyone's desires of me. And I can feel depleted and frazzled and burnt out and like I have nothing to give. I actually have a physical manifestation in my body where my shoulders get really tense and tight. This is where you can bring Magnolia in. And I just get to the end of the day. This is how I feel at the end of the day. I feel like a mountain lion was chasing me all day. And I finally get to my bed, sleep for a few hours, which doesn't go that well because I have young kids, and start all over again. So I was at a mastermind retreat this past week in LA, and we had a section where we really talked about getting into what this particular coach calls the abundance zone, and what she does to keep herself in, I think you could also call it flow state. And, you know, she has this very luxurious morning routine, right? Where she doesn't really even start talking to people until 12 p.m. And I'm like, well, that doesn't work for me, right? I have little kids screaming at me the moment I get up, and then I have work to do. I have a house to take care of, all of those things. But I was challenged in that moment to go, how could you pour into yourself first? If you know that if you wake up in the morning and your cup is empty, then you're not going to be able to help anyone throughout the day. Your kids are not going to get the best. The kids are not going to get the best of me. You're not going to get the best of me. My husband's not going to get the best of me. So I decided to let go of perfection. Like oftentimes we're at a zero. Maybe we're not working out. We're not meditating. We're not using our oils. We're not feeding our body. And we decide, oh, I'm going to do this challenge and I'm going to go from 0 to 60 in less than 24 hours. And then that just leaves us feeling like failures because it's not possible. I have about 5 to 10 minutes in the morning before kids start needing my attention. So what I asked myself was, what could I do in those 5 to 10 minutes that fills my cup up so that I then can start the day? And what I have personally come to is a simple meditation that I have been doing for the last couple of months. I think I've shared this before. I want to share it again, though. It was given to me by a friend of mine. Her name is Brenda Johnston. I'm going to have her on my Jasmine and Juniper, the podcast, in a couple of weeks. She's an energy healer, and it's a very simple meditation where I'm able to connect into myself. I'm able to connect into my guides, like my universal support system, and I'm able to connect into my higher power. It takes less than 4 minutes, and it now has become a habit and something that I crave, and it allows me to feel like I can get up and start the day and my cup is filled. So I'm going to give it to you. It's very simple. You can kind of use it however you want to. It's great to add some essential oils. So a key trick here is to have oils next to your bed. So if you are like me and you're busy and you don't really have the life available to you to like get up and go to your meditation corner where you have all your oils spread out, like literally my eyes are closed and I reach my oil and it's like whatever oil I grab and I do this meditation. So the meditation starts with just getting present in your body. So I take a deep breath into my body. I take a deep breath into my mind. So I'm present in my mind, and I take a deep breath into my spirit. And then I ask for whoever you want to be present. For me, it's guardian angels, spirit guides, beneficial beings, and my higher power. So I call it, like my crew. It's my support crew. And here's a little side note. You can call on your support crew throughout the day. So maybe it's God, it's the universe, it's angels, whatever it is. Like, remember, they're there with you all the time. So I call upon my support crew And I ask them to clear any gunk or stagnation that's in my energy field. I ask them to remove any blocks, any hooks, any cords. And I ask them to remove anything gently. Please remove anything gently that might be keeping me from living my best day today. And then I imagine grounding energy into Mother Earth. I bring that up into my body, and then I connect to the divine. And sometimes this is a long meditation. Sometimes I fall asleep during it. Sometimes it's a short. And then I'm able to go and approach the rest of my day from that place of feeling filled. The second thing that I've come to is this idea of what's the one thing. If you haven't read the book, it's a great book. It's called What's the One Thing? And the idea is, what's the one thing that by doing makes all other things possible and easier? And for me, it's getting a workout in. If I am sure to move my body, everything else in my day goes well. Now, personally, I struggle with working out because I'm not someone who can't wait to go to the gym. I hate running. I don't like coming up with workouts. There's so many excuses where I will be like, it's not going to happen today. And I'll use my kids and my business and my life as an excuse. Like, I got too busy. I wasn't able to work out. But recently, what I have started doing is I've started connecting into my inner child. And I've actually taken the time to ask my inner child how she feels when I don't work out. And you can do this by journaling with your non-dominant hand. So if you ask the question in your dominant hand, for me, that's my right hand. Hey, inner child, how do you feel when I don't work out and I don't take care of my body? And then the non-dominant hand, you let her answer. This is really powerful work. Don't be surprised if you have tears. Take time with it. And my inner child told me that she was so sad because it made her feel like I didn't care about her. And I just like started bawling, right? Like just bawling. And so now when I wake up in the morning, I want to go to the gym because I want to take care of that little inner girl inside of me that needs to feel cared for. So those are my tips about self-care. And the oils and products that help me do both of these things, best oil for meditation, in my opinion, is frankincense. Frankincense gets me there automatically. And then the best oil to get me in the gym is MetaPower. I put a few drops underneath my tongue and it's like an anchor and an instant like, okay, let's go work out. And recently I have just let myself accept the fact that my version of working out is dancing to twerk music. And it makes me happy. And that's what I do. So that's my share, passing it on to Ariana, Aisha, or Josie.
I'll jump in next. I think there's a nice segue. Thank you, Arin. There's so much to speak about with self-love and self-care. And I also believe that the way you start your day sets the tone for the day. So I wanted to speak on my section about boundaries and healthy boundaries. And sometimes we don't think in self-care. I often would think of taking baths or, doing a spiritual practice or eating good. But I wanted to speak of healthy boundaries because in trauma research, one of the most identifying healthy habits we can have for working with trauma is having healthy boundaries. So now, instead of equating boundaries as something that's hard and is something I didn't learn, it's really, I equate love and healthy boundaries together. And so if we don't have healthy boundaries for ourselves, we are going to be operating on a depleted state, especially as women. And so I just want to invite you to ask the simple thing, which is, what are you saying yes to and what are you saying no to? And when you're saying yes to things, just contemplate you're also saying no to other things. So I will give you a life example from my own life, my very imperfect life. I like to do a spiritual practice in the morning. However, I use my phone for a clock. And there's many mornings I'll look at my phone and I will go down the rabbit hole of reading the news, of looking at what just happened in Turkey, of of looking at Facebook. You know how it goes. It can be a myriad of things, right? And what I realize is that when I do that in the morning, I am saying yes to a lot of fear and negative energy. I'm not saying you don't have to look at the news, but I'm not starting my day starting with the tone of where I want to focus on. I'm letting the world overcome me. It's the same with kids screaming at you. It's the same with a grumpy partner. It's the same with a cat who's puking or whatever the thing is that like sets your day off in a wrong tone, right? And so I just wanted to say, I will in my day often, no shame, just check in. Like, how's that working for you? How did I start my day? What am I saying yes to? And what am I saying no to? If I said no to my spiritual practice, I'm going to have a very different day than if I said yes. And so I'll constantly throughout my day reset. And I also wanted to speak of this idea that in our culture, we've really learned to focus on what we accomplish as our identity. And I just want to invite you for a moment to imagine meeting a new baby in this world. And would you go, oh, what are you going to accomplish? Did you move your hand enough today? Did you eat enough today? Did you poop enough today? Like, you're worthy because you've done these things. We don't do that. We look at a new baby in this world and we just say, oh my gosh, you're so lovable and you're so beautiful because you're here. And so I just want to offer that extension to all of our adult selves, that we aren't lovable because of what we do. We're lovable because of just being here and who we are. And there's a big difference. So if you're finding that you are constantly busy and overextending yourself because that feeds your self-worth, I would invite you to contemplate, can I be worthy just because I am here? It's a totally different tone. And then the last thing I wanted to say is that when I contemplate an oil right now for boundaries and for self-worth, my choice was DDR Prime. I take it in the capsule daily, and I also diffuse it a lot. And I love that one because it gives us really healthy cellular boundaries. It gives us those really healthy immune boundaries, gives us really healthy energetic boundaries and emotional boundaries. So if you're working with any of these topics, bringing in that DDR Prime is like, hey, cell, you're dying and not looking good. We're going to let you go, right? And all of that is interconnected, right? Like how our body has boundaries, how our mind has boundaries, how we spiritually have boundaries. So I could speak so much more about self-love, but that was the part that came to me on this day. So I will pass the mic. Oh,
I think I'm up. Thank you, everyone. I love these. Well, I think I prepared too much stuff. I came in hard and fast with this idea of self-love to really bring home using the oils. We all, I think, we're mostly attracted here to this community, to doTERRA, about essential oils. And I think sometimes we all in the visionary leaders talk about, like, are people really using the oils the way we're using the oils? I don't know if that's happening all the time. And so I wanted to talk about my own, how I use the oils in my own Self Symphonies. We talk about Symphony of the Cells. That's something Boyd Truman came up with. You guys can put it in the chat. You can go to Aroma Tools, or there's his website where you can buy this is the old book, truewellness.com is the site. But what I want to do is, in this idea of empowerment and boundaries, really set the stage for this is not complicated stuff. And really empowering everyone to be able to do their own idea of a self symphony. A symphony is just a layering. So that's one after the other, a sequence of layering on oils somewhere on your body. That's how I perceive it. Okay. And so I have this fun. I bought this thing for like $3 or something on super sale from Aroma Touch during summertime. They have sales. It's like a little cotton bag. Look at that. You get these rows of 8 oils in a row and you get 4 of them. So I have a new sauna and I bring my oils into the sauna and I do my own Self Symphonies there. And it is a way that I am able to bring in this powerful plant medicine, so simple and easy. Now, I know everyone doesn't have a sauna. So there's all these other ways before I have the sauna, where if you guys have watched any of my Self Symphony, the video that we have on the Visionary Leaders, we have a whole drop down menu of Symphony of the Cells that I kind of put together. I'm gonna show you. If I can bring my foot up to here and put oils on it like this, you guys can just sit there and sit in a chair and do it, right? Or what I taught is in bed. So while we're in that relaxing time, you can layer on sequences of oils and it's really easy. You can do it in the morning before you put your shoes on. And I'm going to talk about how you can bring it down to 3 oils or maybe 4 oils instead of 1. We always teach like start with 1. What the thing in the general classes, I say start with On Guard. You know, that's a general immune boosting and protection blend. But then we can deepen into this concept, right? And so that next idea is bring it in to a quiet time. Like Erin's saying, she's a busy mom and you think, or someone who's feeling really busy, who has a 9-to-5 job and a family and things, and saying, I can't bring this in, but you can. So you bring it, it can be in a 4-minute. It could be at the beginning of, before doing a meditation. I like when you have a little bit more time, I like to bring in this idea of adding heat to it. So you can do that with a hot water bottle or a heating pad. And so you can prep the area. So when I say the area, the first place we sort of say to start is on the bottoms of the feet. Great absorption, gets into the whole system, and it's safer. Like hot oils don't bother you down there on the bottoms of the feet. It's simple. But the next step is working on the abdomen. So there's all here's all our organs, right? And then we have the lower abdomen, which is all kind of things that you think about with any kind of women's healthcare, all of our menstrual issues. That's juicy. Or up here, we have on the right side, the liver, or just working with any intestinal issues. You can prep and get that area hot with a heating pad or a hot water bottle before. And then the oils absorb really great in, right? And you can, or you can do it afterwards. So make it more relaxing, part of relaxing thing. I know Ariana loves to take baths every night, right? So you could work it in with a bath or a shower. So when you go into the shower, you're opening up your pores. Same thing happening with the sauna. So you could do this sequence 5 minutes before the shower, let it absorb in, and then get in the shower, or you could wait until afterwards, okay? And then your pores are really open and different things happen in different times, right? Whether you do that before or after a bath. So here's the safety things for everyone to know. When you're putting it on anywhere in your body that's not the bottoms of your feet, pretty much you want to carry your oil first, okay? So you're just going to put whatever you like. are they still selling the sensitive skin? This is one of my favorites, but I love all 3. They have 3 different carrier oil blends with doTERRA. They're all great. You just do a little bit. You don't need a lot, probably about like a dropper full. Depends on the size of the area. But you rub that on the area of the abdomen or the lower abdomen. That's usually, but like right now, I have a little arthritis and I don't know, I had a car accident when I was young and my right leg's a little shorter and all this, my leg's like funky. And so I have a little arthritis here in the inside of this knee. I always, when I'm doing the bottoms of my feet or I'm working on like this area or like maybe some tension in my neck, I always put it on my knee too. Don't forget that, okay? Like, so if you have if you have an area that is actually has some pain, inflammation, do it too. So so step 1, carrier oil. Step 2, I like to say, I'll do a little meme. We'll do a little meme about these rules of thumb to empower you. Start with a frankincense balance or a blend that has frankincense in it. I like to call these the tree blends. Okay, so start there, frankincense balance or a tree blend. And then it's nice to end with a tree blend. Our trees are our grounders. they're really nice at the end of a sequence. And what do I mean by tree blends? This is gonna go fast because we got a lot of them and I love them all. Northern Escape, Midnight Forest, Malama. It's got a lot of trees in there. Fugate, a lot of trees, right? Am I wrong, people? Holiday Peace, love it. Oh, and Balance, right? And frankincense, you guys. So I always say, I love the Symphony of the Cells because it's single oils mostly, and you get to know them and you can go on that journey, and you can always just pick 4 single oils. So I'll give a difference of single oils versus blends. But with blends, you're getting a lot without having to think about it too much. So as this rule of thumb, start with like a tree or a frankincense or a balance. And then in the middle, that's where we put our flowers, our herbs, and our kind of like more and the oils that are doing detoxing or big immune boosting and kind of that big medicinal things. So I like to say, start with the that tree. And then I have 2 lines. I have my kind of oils that I love to use as the movers and shakers, depending on what's going on, but they're really fun to break down. I love RX. Ariana mentioned DDR Prime. So these are all blends. Probably my go-to fave is Zendocrine and DDR Prime, but then I love RX. You get the picture? And then Purify. These are 4 oils that are doing so many different actions in so many different ways. So I'll either put that on or interchange. My third oil will be a citrus. And I'm telling you, the 3 big citrus blends, I think we don't have Elevation anymore. If you have any hoarded, that's in there. But you guys, Citrus Twist or Citrus Bliss, it's just all the citruses in one. So much fun. It's a party. Or Adaptive, do a mood citrus oil. And then that could be it. Those 3 sequences. You could end then with you could layer another wood oil on, tree oil, or, you know, these 4 are the foundations of health: Aroma Touch, On Guard, Balance, I have Breathe and Digest Zen. I use those medicinally in other ways, but if you're newer to the things, you could bring those in, right? And then finish with a mint or a wood or a tree oil, or a wood or a tree. I'll write those down. Is this too much? I don't know. I kind of was like, oh yeah, I started going and then I got all crazy. If you're going to be doing hot, opening your pores, be careful about mints and like the hot oils, cinnamons, oregano, thyme, things like that. Because when your pores are open from either a hot water bottle or a sauna or a shower or a bath, you're going to feel that more in the area. Sometimes if it's like a knee that hurts, that's a good thing. Use carrier oil. But that sequencing where you just start to like think, where you can't mess up. First of all, those are some tips about the sequencing. But as you saw, like, what if I just did Northern Escape and then Adaptive and then Zendocrine? Do you know how much yummy medicine is in here, whether you put it on your abdomen, your feet, or even your knee? Because I'm like, well, there's not really specific things in here that I think of as anti-inflammatory for my knee, but then I do these sequences and it always feels better and the pain goes down. So I don't know what's going on in the thing, but anywho, I'll read it and see. I'll stop. Maybe we can do a longer thing at some point, getting people more into this. Because I talked about the blends because there's so much kind of bang for the buck in them, but you can always be simple. You could do frankincense, grapefruit, and then what did I say? What would be a good, it would, a single. Marjoram. I love geranium. I'm always using lavender and geranium for singles. I love the hormone sequence and Symphony of the Cells. Anyways, I'm going to stop. Just use your oils, everyone, and don't be afraid. And the process of doing it, so much is released on all the levels of our bodies, and the experience of applying it and taking that time out with ourselves, it just works on so many levels with us and for us. So I love it.
Thank you, Josie, Ariana, and Arin. Are you all loving all these ideas? I'm going to just take a few minutes to add in my tips for self-care, which I think will be a good closure, and then we'll move on and Arin will share a little bit about the business. I really, truly believe and have experienced that making our self-care a priority is the greatest gift we can give to those that we love. We need to shift this paradigm that self-care is selfish and realize that self-care is essential to our mental, physical, and spiritual health. And isn't that what we want to be teaching our children and modeling to our friends and our community, and getting out of this rat race life that I'm really cool because I'm overstressed out and I work too hard? I've lived in that zone for many, many years. And because of that, my nervous system is fried and I can tolerate very low amounts of stress. And as I get too stressed, I'll easily trigger a migraine. It's like my fuse has become so short. I don't have those reserves that I used to have when I was young. And so the sooner we can incorporate these practices, the healthier we will age and the more we'll be able to navigate. So I want to share just a few tips that I think are really important, because I think that one of the biggest challenges many of us face are our own minds. If you were to record your thoughts throughout the day, and then we were to listen to those thoughts, we would probably all be horrified at what is going on in that head of ours, right? Like, you would never say to your own child the things that you probably say to yourself all day. So I'm not going to get into like why we are all programmed that way, but oftentimes our negative mind is like a whipping lash on our back that's going on all through day. And the thing is that what's going on internally is going to manifest externally. So first, whatever manifests into your life, it begins as a thought, it begins as a vision. And so oftentimes we focus and worry on what we don't want. But if we're putting all of that energy into what we don't want, then we just create more of that. So we must take steps to work on reprogramming this. And that breath exercise that I gave you earlier, working with the breath is a really good way to reprogram the mind. And I want to share two other tools. One of them is affirmations, and the second is gratitude. Here, I'm going to put these all in the chat and I'm going to read them to you. These are my personal affirmations that I want to share with you. I recommend writing them down, placing them on the mirror, putting them on your phone, and saying them once or twice a day. If you say them and you do not resonate with them, that's okay. That just means that is an area for you to work on. If you say them and you're like, oh, this is totally false, it's all the more reason why you need to be saying them. And of course, you can alter them if something's totally not landing for you, but I just want to read through these really quickly. And the way you would do this is to look at yourself in the mirror. So I have them on my mirror so I don't forget. And I put my hands over my heart. You can work with an oil. Like if there's something that you want to manifest, you could work with Litsia. If you're wanting to connect with your higher purpose, working with sage. Spikenard is for gratitude. So whatever oil, today we worked with Magnolia, whatever oil is landing for you, you can put some of that oil on and then simply say, I am worth my time. Why don't you all say this with me? I put them in the chat. Care and attention. I am ready to process and let go of my past and move forward with an open heart. I am awake to my world and my authentic self. I will gently and patiently give birth to all of me. I am worth of being me. So again, that is what I say to myself every day and every evening. And then I just want to talk just for a quick moment about the power of gratitude. Do you know that having a gratitude practice is one of the most healing things you can actually do for your heart? And it also boosts neurotransmitter serotonin and activates the brainstem to produce dopamine. Dopamine is our brain's pleasure chemical. And the more we think positive, grateful thoughts, the healthier and the happier that we feel. So I'm sure we've all heard about how to have a gratitude practice, but I just want to give you some quick ideas. The wonderful thing about practicing gratitude is it brings you into the present moment. And so many of us live in the past, in the future. We're stressed out about this, we're stressed out about that we're not actually present. So by practicing gratitude, it centers us in this present moment. You can do this before you have your dinner. You can do this when you're meeting with a friend. You can do this when you're walking in nature. And a lovely thing to do when you wake up or at night before you go to bed is to take some time and literally write down 10 things that day that you're grateful for and try to make them different every day. Sometimes there's the obvious ones, right? My animals, my loved ones, but think about the other things that come into your life that you're grateful for. And so again, by practicing gratitude, this is going to help boost your self-esteem. It can literally improve your energy and your health. It can make you feel happier and more optimistic. It will give you feelings of generousness, and it will help you be more forgiving. It will keep you in the present moment, and it will help with your overall happiness. So if you have not practiced affirmations or gratitude, I invite you to bring that into your daily routine. And with that, Arin, I'm going to pass on over to you.
Thank you, Aisha. And for everyone listening, we will have these protocols and these affirmations in our Google Drive with all the protocols that we give each week. The way you get access to that is you need to be signed up for our Visionary Leaders email list. So we send an email out every Wednesday, and you can go to hellovisionary.life to get hooked up with that. It's great to be on that list because you get this email, we put in the recording, but also if you are a new member of our community, enroll a new member, you can sign them up for that email list and they will get a series of emails to get started with some basics like safety, how to use oils, some of our favorite tips and tricks. So please go get signed up for our newsletter. And if you're listening to the podcast, we would love for you to give us a review and a 5-star rating. Share this with your customers, your friends, and your families. We have great content like this every week. With that, we'll be switching into the portion of the call where we talk about sharing doTERRA and making an income. So if you are brand new or just starting to this concept, you are welcome here. This is going to be a good call for newbies or anybody who is kind of taking a fresh look at their doTERRA business. So to kind of paint this picture, I want us all to imagine if you have ever gone to a really good restaurant, or you've had an excellent cup of coffee, or maybe you have your favorite hairstylist, and it was so good that you told everyone about it. Has anybody had that experience? I know Aisha has, because she is completely an influencer. When Aisha tells me about a cute pair of pants or something I have to check out, I definitely check it out. But what about any who ever shared your favorite restaurant or your favorite TV show or your favorite hand lotion? I know that when I find a good restaurant, I tell everyone about it. And wouldn't it be cool if that restaurant had a little account for me and they gave me 20% of every meal that was had at their restaurant because I referred? And what if they went to the extent where, like, if I sent Aisha to that restaurant and she sent Ariana and Ariana sent Dr. Josie and Dr. Josie sent Florence and so on and so on? What if the restaurant gave me a small percentage of everyone's meal, even if I didn't directly recommend that restaurant? That would be so. At first, I would probably be able to go and eat at that restaurant every week if I wanted to because of that money. But if my influence reached many, many, many people and it became world renowned, I would eventually have this bank account with income in it that was extremely profound. Can you all imagine that happening? I mean, restaurants don't do that, but wouldn't it be cool? This is what doTERRA does. doTERRA does this for us. If we share doTERRA with a friend and they decide to get an account and purchase some oils, doTERRA gives us 20% of everything they purchase days. And if that same person goes out and shares with their friend and they share with their friend, then we're earning 3 to 7% on every purchase made because of us. And if we put a little strategy into it, especially with the people who like to eat at that restaurant every month or purchase doTERRA every month, and we structure our downline organization in that 3x3 structure, then we also get rewarded for people who order every month. So I just really like to explain the network marketing model and in this format so that it can be understood. So maybe you're like, yeah, Arin, I already get that. I understand. I get it, but I'm scared to get started, or I feel. I'm kind of going to out Aisha a little bit, but when she and I started working together, within a couple of months of her launching her business, I said, Aisha, I'm moving to Hawaii. She lives in Portland. And Aisha was like, what? Because up until that point, I had been teaching all of the classes that Aisha was hosting. And so did you feel a little scared, Aisha? Like, how am I going to go do this without Arin?
I was horrified.
And what helped you get over that fear and go start teaching your own classes, which, by the way, then you were on fire and you taught a ton of classes.
Well, so I have to admit, and this was a really important defining moment, and I want you all to sink into this, because I looked at Arin as an expert. I was like, oh, Arin knows everything. I know nothing. And I didn't really know anything about essential oils at all. I thought, oh, I could never do this. And yet Arin was such a crutch for me that I didn't realize, because I was like, oh, I don't have to learn it. I'll just have Arin teach everything. She's the superstar. I'll just invite him to the class. And honestly, when Arin left, as much as I was kicking and screaming, it was actually, in a way, the greatest gift she could have given me, because it forced me to get out of my comfort zone and get really uncomfortable. And I set up my first class and I got out that TerraPad and I looked it over and I watched some videos and I figured out what I was going to say and I practiced. And my first class was way too long and I sold literally one oil. No one even enrolled. I sold one bottle of Claricom and the whole session was way too long. But the key is that I got out of my comfort zone. And what I didn't know then that I know now is that ultimately everything that we want is just outside of our comfort zone. But we have to sometimes do something a little different that is a little foreign, that makes us a little uncomfortable. But that is what asks us to grow. And from that was literally the beginning of me teaching one class a week for the following year. And that's when my business really started to take off. And I didn't care if there was one person at that class or 2 people or 3 people or sometimes no people, but I kept showing up. And I also made the declaration that I was going to be a diamond. I didn't know how long this was going to take. I didn't know if I was going to be the laughing stock, but I just started acting as if. I just embodied that confidence and I kept showing up. And of course, when I was not confident, I would talk to my husband about it at the time. I would talk to Arin about it, because of course I had many days where I just thought, what am I doing? But 13 years later, with a global team, we are here. And this is truly, it's that consistent daily steps, just like we talk about your self-care routine. What are you doing every day to nurture your business?
Thanks, Aisha. So Aisha mentioned a TerraPad, and I want to make sure that you all know about the concept of a TerraPad, because that was one of my mistakes as a leader, is I didn't like the TerraPads and I didn't use them because I have a lot of essential oil knowledge and I didn't need them. But then when I started having people come on board that wanted to share, like Aisha, they didn't know how to go teach a class. And so having a TerraPad, whether you use it or not, is a really good idea. because even if you don't need the tear pad to teach people, when people see you using a tear pad, it can help them feel more confident, like they could do it too. So doTERRA has multiple tear pads. I'm going to put the one that we all seem to use right now the most, which is Essential Oils Made Simple. And you can either buy it or download it and print it. And the idea is whether you're sitting with one person or you're teaching in front of 10 or even 20 people, the tear pad can help you remember the important points to hit. You can also hand it out to the people in your class. They can follow along, and the people in your class will go, oh, is this all you have to do? I can totally do that. So highly recommended that you use a tear pad. There are options on the doTERRA Empowered Success site on doTERRA.com. If you scroll down to the bottom of doTERRA.com homepage, you will see Empowered Success. And that's all your business tools that you need. They even have something called a class in a box, which will give you a lot of the things that you need to have a class in a box.
Arin,
So I just wanted you to know, oh, yes.
Oh, I just also want to give a plug to MetaPower. Right now, if you're like wanting to relaunch your business, I highly, this is your presidential diamond tip, people. So I really want you to hear this. Get on board with sharing MetaPower. If you're not taking it, first step, start taking it. There is a tear pad. There is a script, which I actually think is way too long. I would definitely pare it down and make it super simple. You want to make it 4th grade. Simple, easy, quick. So keep that in mind. But get on board with sharing MetaPower. It is life-changing. People need it. It is a revolutionary product, and it will really help your business soar. And it's going to be released in Europe in the spring. And Katya, who's on the call, and myself, and who else we have that's also going, Rebecca, and I think Diane, we are all going to be in Lisbon at the convention with the release of MetaPower in Europe. So if you're on that side of the world and you want to join us, or you know anybody that you want to send, we're very excited about spreading MetaPower through Europe.
Yes. So we're coming to the close of this call, and I want to really leave you with some mindset concepts if taking action is feeling scary to you, or you are feeling like, well, I'll hold a class when I know more, or I need to be more of an expert, or I have to take a certification. And the one mindset shift that I would like you to have is the fact that your first class is not going to be your best class, and that's okay. We actually learn by taking imperfect action and just putting ourselves out there. So if you are the type of person who is kind of waiting until you're an expert, first of all, you'll probably never be an expert in essential oils, because the wisdom is so vast and the research is continually coming out. So allow yourself to be in student mode as you share. And then also know that as you take imperfect action, you are going to learn. All of us who have been doing this for a while, we teach a class, and then we come back from that class and we ask ourselves, what went well? What didn't go so great? What will I do different next time? So just giving yourself permission to take that imperfect action. The other mindset, or just a reframe that you want to have, is 80% of the people who come to your class have already decided to purchase. And I saw this happen at a class I taught the other day, where everyone at the class purchased, first of all, and then one of the people in the class had already sold herself. She'd been going to doTERRA classes for a while. She'd already used some essential oils, but she hadn't purchased. And I didn't even talk about the Lifelong Vitality Pack in this particular class. I ran out of time. I didn't get to it. And as I was kind of helping everybody purchase their kits, she said, she went on her phone to the doTERRA website and said, I want this kit. And it was so it's just a reminder that when the people say yes, when you invite them to a class and they say yes and they show up, they pretty much have already decided to purchase. So you don't have to be performative. You don't have to be perfect. There's a saying in network marketing that is, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person, and you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. So all you have to do is show up and take imperfect action, open the bottles, and then guide them through the process. I would say if there is a skill that you really want to perfect and a skill that could use work more than knowing everything about the essential oil, of closing. I still, 14 years later, get scared about closing and will make the mistake. And the biggest mistake I can make is to not ask people if they'd like to purchase. If you remember anything, it's to just remember to say, oh, would you like to go ahead and get that? Yes, please, Aisha.
I just want to give you my favorite closing tip, because this is an area that everyone can get really nervous and anxious and unsure. And you'll think, oh, you just want to assume that they know that they can buy. Don't assume. So the way to move through that discomfort is to say, write this down. Would it be okay with you if I take a few moments and share how to get started? By asking that permission-based question, it will completely shift the whole energy in the room. And no one's going to say, oh no, I don't want to hear that. It literally, like, it will make you relax, and you'll feel the whole entire group relax by just asking that permission-based, would it be okay if I take a few minutes to share with you how to get started? So all you have to say, and then you go from there.
Yes. So this is the invitation for all of you today. If you are ready to start or restart your doTERRA business, if you would like to make an income sharing doTERRA, today to schedule a class. It can be a happy hour at your home. It can be a intro to MetaPower. It can be a oils made easy. You can call it whatever you want, but put it on the calendar today and start inviting people. And when people say yes, just remind yourself that they've probably already decided to purchase. You can simply read off a tear pad, and most important, ask them that question that Aisha just put out there, which is, would it be okay if I showed you how to get your account started today? So that's what I have for you in the business section. Let's tell everybody about what's happening next week. Do you want me to share that, or does anybody want to close? I can share it. Okay, so February 13th, we're going to be talking about our favorite Valentine's Day DIY products. So things like chocolates, erotic massage oil, bath salts, all kinds of things that you can make with your oils for your Valentine. So please invite your friends, your customers, and we will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.